Hello everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp, and to the video where we look at some games that are on sale. And I have to say, I actually am quite surprised that you're able to find games that are still ones that I've never heard of. I've bought a couple of ones from this list and they're absolutely amazing. So what are the best games? Oh, hang on. Here's the winner of our free game from last week. Congratulations. Send me an email and I'll ping you your copy. If you'd like to win a free game, just leave comments down below. And you can also save 5% on your eShop credit over at switchup.gg. You just need to buy your credit there and you'll get 5% in cashback straight away. Okay, what are the best games on sale? Well, my name's Mark Walker. Welcome back to SwitchUp. Now let's find out. Let's kick off then with one of those purchases. The first of them is a game called LevelHead, which I saw at 80% off, taking it down to £3.09, an absolute barjan, as long as it's not rubbish. And it seems really good. It's like an action platform game where you are an employee of the Bureau of Shipping with about 90 different levels to work your way through, but you can make your own levels as well and then share those with people around the world. As I say, it's got that campaign mode. It's also got cross-platform saves and you can share those across from one to the other, and you can play in co-op as well with friends. It's really good. Up to 4 of you can play together in co-op, whether that be on someone else's creations or on your own. And it's just 798 megs, and I have to be honest, I had never heard of it at all. I saw the price and was like, yes please, and it is decent. Really well worth picking up. That sale goes on in all regions until July the 17th.
Could you stop for a moment? This is a simulated real-world delivery
You might remember we did an advert for Raycon, I think it was around Christmas time. Now unfortunately my wife, well, she treated them to a little bath, let's just put it that way. So it was pretty sweet when Raycon reached back out with the latest version of their everyday earbuds. With this upgraded model, you've now got active noise cancellation, which is a right touch, let me tell you. But I also use them on my Nintendo Switch and my phone, and they've got what's called multi-point connectivity. You might have tried some other Bluetooth headphones, and sometimes it'll be connected to your phone and you'll have to unpair them and then get the other device and try and pair them, but there'll be like a third device that you forgot about and it will automatically connect to those. It's a right pain. So multi-point connectivity, it basically means you just connect to them. It's like the way you think Bluetooth should work. There are also a variety of different colors that you can choose from. I just went for the plain old black, I like that look. Whereas Glen, being a Spurs supporter, went for blue. I gotta be honest, I did get a bit of FOMO with his ones, they do look very snazzy. Onto the nitty gritty, you're getting about 32 hours of battery life in total with that charging case. There's a quick charge function, so 10 minutes of charging gets you 90 minutes of battery, and they're also weatherproof. They've got an IP66 rating. They're just very good headphones. So click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/switchup to get 15% off your purchase of Raycons plus free shipping. So that's it. Thanks to those guys for sponsoring this episode. Tinykin is matching its cheapest ever price, which is great. It's a lot like old school Pikmin in many ways. You have these little Tinykin creatures that you can guide along, and you'll need certain amounts of them to carry out different tasks around the map. It's all set in a Honey I Shrunk the Kids style house, each stage taking place in a different room. There are lots of different hidden things around, funny little moments where you come across like pet animals and stuff. It's just great. I was really impressed with it. I didn't know what to expect, and at the moment it's £10.79. I think that's half price. An easy recommendation, and if you're not entirely sure, go check out our full review. Here's the score that I gave that one. Another that I recently enjoyed and down to its new lowest price is Little Kitty Big City. That's down 20% to £17.99. I guess a bit more pricey than some of the games I'm going to talk about, but from a very small indie team, and I think they've done incredibly well out of it. Like, they didn't expect big things, but it's sold way beyond their expectations. Now, the Switch version had a few glitches and things. They have been working on those. There was another patch a couple of days ago actually, so hopefully they're gradually getting on top of those. But essentially you play as a cat dropped into the middle of this city, and then you just go around doing stuff. It'll be like steal the keys from this lady and you've got to get past her as she's squirting a hose at you. And then there's quite a bit of verticality in it as well. Lots of those incidental little puzzles that you can or not can't do, but you choose not to. And then there are little hidden things around as well. Very cool. It comes from Double Dagger Studios. It's just 1.6 gigs, and that sale down to $17.99, 20% off, goes on until July the 11th. Hand of Merlin is a decent game that I have played from when it first came out, but we didn't actually get a review out, which was a bit of a shame really. It's down to £6.74, which represents 75% off, easily the cheapest it's been. This is like a turn-based roguelite RPG. You can trade with merchants, you can improve your heroes, but it is worth noting that it is a roguelite. You're moving your way across the world of Albion and a few other places, so choosing your route is really important. Sometimes it has that risk-reward aspect where a path can have some seriously good rewards but is ridiculously difficult. So in that regard, it is quite nice because the RNG is in your hands, I guess, and it takes some of that out of it. It's got tactical turn-based combat, so your own abilities will again make a big difference to your survival. There's a ton of different upgrades, relics and spells that you can use. It's just a decent game that got absolutely no it got no marketing at all. For about £6, this is an easy pickup if you're a fan of the genres I've mentioned. Hand of the Merlin, that sale, the cheapest it's ever been, goes on until July the 17th. One that we all know is Hades, but this is, again, the cheapest this has ever been. It's 60% off until July the 12th. Does this mean that Hades 2 is going to leave early access and arrive on all consoles soon? I don't know. I don't know if they've given a release date for that yet. But either way, if you haven't played Hades, you definitely should. It's £8.99 at the moment. It's up there with some of my favourite roguelites of all time. You play as the prince or one of the princes of the underworld, and you're essentially trying to get out. Your dad's a pain in the butt, and you can choose different weapons. It's got a dodge mechanic. In many ways, it does things that have been replicated over and over again, but it still manages to do them better than a lot of the other games that we've seen. What's very cool is that it has a storyline that progresses over your runs, so it never feels like you're just restarting from scratch, even obviously with meta progression and things like that. That story will pick up where you'll meet a boss again and they'll be like, oh, you've come back then. And you're like, oh, hello. You just don't really expect that. And I remember the writer talking about how many different lines and scenarios he had to cater for. Very cool game. Hades is 60% off, as I say, until July the 12th. Finally, the outstanding Dave the Diver sees its biggest ever sale. 30% off, £11. One of my favourite games on Switch. Just buy it. Like, this is one of those that I will quite happily say, like, I think most people are going to find something they enjoy here. It uses a nice hybrid of essentially a diving game where you go down beneath the sea, you'll have different objectives, you'll be trying to get different fish and things, and you have this spear gun that's controlled almost in a twin stick way. There are boss fights in there as well, and then you take those ingredients and you run a sushi shop. That's a difficult thing to say. You run a sushi shop during the day. It was inspired by a real life thing, so I think it was the developer like knew a sushi shop and then kind of got inspired by that. But they also added in free DLC all the time. The Godzilla content pack just came out and it's amazing. It's completely free, obviously featuring Godzilla. And by the way, if you like proper Godzilla, you should definitely watch Godzilla -1 it's brilliant. But it's a really nice mixture of gameplay mechanics that gets expanded upon. Every couple of hours you gain a new thing. That keeps it nice and fresh. The sale for Dave the Diver, £11.89, 30% off until July the 14th. Unmetal was a great one. It reminded me of Hot Shots Part 2, which when I was a kid was just the funniest thing ever. But it's a bit like an old school Metal Gear Solid with a load of humour in it. Some people find it a little bit too on the nose, but I really found it very funny, honestly, when you go down in the sewers and there's that, like, Rat King. Now, at the moment, that one's 75% off until July the 18th. That makes it just £4.49. I guess that's the beauty of these videos, isn't it? If you can really find some good games for cheap prices, and then when we're adding to these backlogs, at least you're adding quality stuff to it. Because when that game first came out, it was £18. And I still said it was worth it, like it was a great game, but being able to pick it up at £4.49, that's absolutely bonkers. That sale goes on until July the 17th. Another that has its cheapest price is Dredge, 35% off. I can almost hear collective wallets just going, no. There's too many from my backlog here, or too many, sorry, from my wish list that I wanted to pick up. Yeah, so this one, $14.29. You're the captain of a fishing trawler. You have to go out and explore remote islands to find different things for different people. You can equip your boat in various different ways, and then there's like an inventory management of it, and you can research special equipment as well to upgrade it. You can sell your discoveries, so what you fish and what you find, and there's, like the other game we just spoken about, quite a lot of DLC that you can find on sale as well that adds new content. I must admit, the idea of being a fisherman, is anyone a fisherman who's listening to this? Like a proper, you know, like deep sea fisher, man or woman or person. The idea of that absolutely terrifies me. Like the thought that when you're completely, you know, isolated in the middle of the high seas, there's a storm or something, that must be petrifying. Or maybe you just like it. Like, I just don't think I could do that. I'd much rather be, you know, halfway up a cliff, just climbing around in control of my own destiny, well, until a rock falls on my head. But yeah, I couldn't do it. Fair play to you. The sale for Dredge, 35% off, goes on until July the 14th. Now, one that I did want to mention, I've worked with these guys before, and they're just such a nice team that created this game, is Phoenotopia Awakening. Now that's 65% off at the moment until July the 11th. That makes it £6.29. Now they were inspired by Zelda 2 actually, and it has that side perspective. It is very difficult, and actually you've got this massive map that gradually opens up. It's a cracking game, it really is. There are a couple of difficulty spikes that are difficult to get over in the fact that the bosses are hard. They are really quite challenging and a bit unexpectedly so, but still it's all down to your own skill. So, you know, in terms of gameplay length, I mean about 30 to 50 hours as well, so it's an absolute beast. Phoenotopia at the moment, as I say, 65% off, £6.29. Such an easy recommendation, but I think I have one more in my tank that is going to tickle a few fancies. Consider that one though before it leaves sale on July the 11th. Okay, the last one before we look at some Savaloys is a game I picked up literally yesterday for 20 quid. I saw it and was like, okay, and then I saw some reviews and was like, oh. Okay, it's Megaton Musashi W Wired Standard Edition from Level 5. And I do remember this coming out and someone was like, you're going to review that? And I was like, well, honestly, I just don't know if we've got time. I think from what I've played so far, I'm going to do one of those, is this a hidden gem I almost missed kind of reviews, because this needs a review. It is cracking. It's half price at the moment. It kind of gives me vibes of a few of the things that Atlas have done in the past as well. You've got this action RPG with mechas, which is, they're just amazing. These real-time robot battles with that hack and slash combat, but slightly nuanced combat, you know, it's not mindless just bashing away. If you've got other mates that have got it, you can actually play together in local wireless play. And there's online for up to 1 to 6 of you as well, so you can collaborate together. But aside from the action combat, you're upgrading your mech, you're adding different weapons to it. It looks amazing. And then you've got these almost like, I forget the name of the game now. It'll come back to me in a minute. But those like side perspective sections where you're kind of walking around talking to different people, progressing the storyline. It's really very good. Like a really... I mean, did anyone see any promotion for this at all? I know we obviously had it on our upcoming games list, but I don't remember them pushing marketing and things like that. But even if you have just the vaguest interest in mechs or mecha, you're going to enjoy this a lot. If you like action games, you're going to have a good time. If you like RPGs with that kind of action RPG twist between the two genres, yes, just so far at least. I mean, I'm only going to say I've only played a couple of hours, but you know, within a few hours, if something's your style, I'm having an absolute blast. So yeah, you could potentially expect a little review of that. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see, because the sale goes on until July the 11th. I've got a little bit of time to get that out. So then we go over to the Savaloy Selection. These are the ones that are super cheap. So like you're looking at a few quid, just the price you would pay for your regional cheap takeaway dish, whatever that may be. For me, it's a Savaloy. For you, it's a Fetkuk or whatever else. First up, we've got Toem, which is 80% off. I think that's its cheapest until July the 12th. Lovely little game with that monochromatic art style. quite chill. You're taking photographs with your camera and then you use that to solve the puzzles and help people. It's got very nice, relaxing and chilled out music and a nice little group of characters. It's not long, about 3 or 4 hours. Perfect for a couple of quid. The Amnesia collection, the complete polar opposite. Glen reviewed this, 80% off. He really enjoyed it. Sure, it's a little dated in terms of horror games, but the sound and the audio was horrible. I guess in a good way if you like that kind of thing. Sword of the Vagrant, a decent little side-scrolling action game, 75% off at just £2.24. The Great Perhaps is 90% off, down to 89 pence. A cool story about an astronaut returning to Earth, which has been destroyed by natural cataclysms. Bit of an old school adventure style game, couple of hours long. A little bit clunky, but for 89p you can't go too wrong. There's another one actually, I'm not actually going to show any footage of it, but it's called Tardy, and that reminds me of that. Decent game. And finally, Jotun, the Valhalla edition. This is another little gem. £2.74. From, I think it's from the same developer who bought us, oh my goodness, it's completely skipped my mind. It's Thunder Lotus Games. What was their other game? But anyway, this is like a like almost isometric action exploration game featuring Norse mythology. And you're fighting bosses basically. You're moving between these massive Jotuns, which are like giant Norse elementals, and it's great. I really enjoyed it. Just 3.7 gigs, and yeah, 75% off, a couple of quid. And both Bastion and Transistor, if they're not in your collection, you need to get them in there while they're on sale. They used to be on sale all the time, and then there's a period where they weren't for ages. You can pick up both of those games for £5 and 29p. Which is just ridiculous. Bastion was amazing. It was the debut voice acting job for the main narrator, and it's just so good. He's got this like gravelly voice. Then Transistor took like the gameplay in a slightly different direction with this almost paused strategy, tactical gameplay that was quite cool. Some people didn't like it as much as Bastion, but still, being able to pick up either of those at the moment for 80% off, it's an absolute win. It's silly season for sales. Let me know what games you'll be picking up. There's tons down there. I've just seen that Ganryu 2 is also on sale at what, £2.51? Holy smokes, that's a really good game. It had an issue at launch, but they patched that up. Good fun. £2.51. Oh man, I'm going to stop right there. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you've picked up, and as always, do save yourself 5% more and support SwitchUp by buying your eShop credit over at switchup.gg. Thanks to our Patreons, our members, all of you that enjoy the content. And I did get the new member. You know, I was chatting to you the other day and I said we've sorted out our end credits. You are now in there. So thanks very much, mate. Thanks for being patient. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!